Okay, Nicola, how are you today? I just kind of want to go over kind of how your mood was because I know last time that we met, you were really depressed and feeling really out of sorts because the kids weren't going to be home for the holidays, and I know that that was making things really difficult for you. So I just kind of wanted to go over like how you were feeling today and go ahead and go over some of the homework that I assigned for you last week, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so why don't you tell me, are you feeling depressed today? Are you feeling okay?
I'm feeling a little bit better because I got to see my kids this weekend, and that always like cheers me up. But I know that obviously Christmas is coming up, and I'm not going to see them for that, so it's just really hard.
So you had a nice visit with them at least to kind
Yeah,
of help
I
get you
did.
out of that mood.
I did. I was even able to take them out for a couple hours, and so we went to the park, and it was fun.
Good, that's good. I know that because of how you're feeling last week, I assigned you to do kind of some journal entries about when you started to feel depressed, what your thoughts were at that point, so we could kind of look at, what was going on and maybe how we can give you some coping skills to help move you in the right direction and get you out of that depression. Were you able to work on any of that?
Yeah, I did work on some. Like there was one day when I couldn't make my visit to the kids, and I started thinking to myself like, I'm just never going to get them back, and like, the system is against me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And so I wrote that down in my journal.
Okay.
And I don't know, it kind of helped me a little bit just to get it down on paper, just to get it out of my head, really.
And were you able to look at, how to change those negative thoughts and understand what the negative thoughts were and the behaviors, and kind of change that to maybe something that was a little more positive, and see that, okay, you said that the system's against you. Were you able to kind of work through that on the journals that I gave you to see that it's not the system necessarily that's against you?
A little bit, because after our last meeting, when we went through the thought chart, or whatever it was called, I did that in my journal. So I wrote down, that I felt like there was nothing I could do to get my kids back, and the system was against me. And then I started figuring out why that would be the case, reasons for and against, like we talked about.
Right.
And it actually kind of helped me to get things into perspective, and I realized that actually my visits are increasing because I'm doing what they're telling me to do. And so it's a positive thing, and I need to keep fighting, really.
Right, and keep looking at, when you have those negative thoughts, why those thoughts are those thoughts, and how you can kind of change them. So it sounds like you've done a lot of really good work this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep on top of it, I'm trying to do what we talk about, because I find it really helpful in these meetings. So.
Well, that's good. I'm really glad. I'm glad that, you feel comfortable enough to work with me and whatnot, so that we can get you to that end goal of getting your kids back.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, so let's kind of move forward. So how is it that I can help you today?
Well, as I said, Christmas is coming up, and I'm not going to really get to see the kids over Christmas, and so I kind of want to work through my feelings towards that, like how do I cope with that, being at home on my own on the holidays, knowing that my kids are out there.
Okay, so what goals, like, if you were to put them into like goals, what would be the goals that you want to work towards for this?
I guess so that I don't get too depressed over the holidays is one goal. And I want to treat them when I am able to see them, after the holidays. I want to kind of, I don't know, recreate a Christmas a bit later on or something like that.
Okay, so have like a late Christmas with them.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think that you can create a late Christmas with your kids? If you were, to do that, what is it that you would want to do?
I want to get them some presents. And I know that the sales are coming up So I think that maybe, you know, when they've got really good sales on it, I could just spend like a couple of bucks here and there because I don't have much, well, I don't have any spare cash as such. So if I buy some presents in the sales, then at least they have something to open, you know.
Right. And have you thought about possibly signing up the kids for like the angel program, so that way somebody can adopt your kids and buy some presents that you'll be able to give them?
I could do that, yeah. That sounds like a good idea. And also I'm being like really careful with my food stamps right now.
Okay.
So that I'm not, you know, not buying a lot, so that I can save it for the time that I get them after the holidays, and I can buy a bit of food for them, you know, make them a nice meal.
Okay.
Well,
that sounds like a really good goal to work towards. It sounds like you've already kind of started working on those goals.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I was writing in my journal, you know, I was just thinking through everything and writing it down, and it helped.
That's awesome. That sounds really good. So, your ultimate goal obviously is to get the kids back and things like that. Have you kind of gone over, you know, what the steps are in order to get the kids back? Like what different goals that you want to work with there?
Well, they said that one of the things was they had to come and see you, and I also have to go to like a drug treatment program.
Okay.
Which I haven't signed up for yet. I guess I'm kind of nervous about that.
Okay, so you're feeling really nervous about going into drug treatment. What is it about drug treatment programs that you're feeling nervous about?
One, that they'll make me feel like a bad person, you know, and two, that I don't know if I'm ready.
You don't know if you're ready?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think you're not ready?
Because I don't know if I'll be able to cope without the drugs.
So was there a time before that you were able to cope without the drugs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't taken drugs my whole life. There was a time. In fact, when I was pregnant with my first kid, I didn't take drugs then. I didn't want any, you know, I didn't want it to affect my baby, so I was able to stop then.
Okay, so what made it different between you stopping doing the drugs with the first pregnancy as opposed to with your other pregnancies? Why were you able to quit then and not with the other kids?
Well, I had my grandma. I lived with my grandma at the time, and she was helping me, you know, throughout the pregnancy. And she said that she was going to be there for me when the baby was born, and I think that having that support from her really helped, you know. But we had a bit of an argument, and we're not talking at the moment. And I don't know, I guess I just feel like I'm on my own. And so the drugs, they help me. They help me get through the day.
So it sounds like you're using the drugs as like a coping mechanism in order to deal with a lot of the feelings that you have. And it sounds like your grandma was a really big support system, and that's really bothering you at this point.
Yeah.
Not having her, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, I'd say that's right. It pretty much sums it up.
So maybe a goal would be to repair the relationship with your grandmother. Do you think that that's a possibility?
Hopefully. I mean, the argument was kind of my fault, and I haven't apologized, or I haven't really tried to contact her since then. Maybe if I did, then she would forgive me and we could move forward, but...
Okay, so can we put down as one of your goals that you're going to try and make contact with your grandmother? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I would like to do that. I really would. Okay. Especially as the holidays are coming up, you know. I'd like to reconnect with her.
So why do you say that it was your fault that you and your grandmother are no longer speaking? What happened there?
Well, we were arguing about me taking some money from her. I stole some money out of her purse so that I could get a fix, basically.
So were you high at the time when that happened?
When we were arguing, yeah. And I started blaming her and saying that, she wasn't there for me and she didn't understand. And, she's not living my life. She hasn't got a clue what it's like. And I guess that kind of hurt her.
Well, the drug is the problem, that you're not the problem, I mean, we're sitting here and we're talking and things are going really well for us, and you're not using right now. So, do you think that it's possible for you to get clean and just stay, try and stay off the drugs?
I want to. I do. I really want to. For my kids' sake. Like, I don't want them seeing that all the time. I don't want them growing up thinking that that's how they should live too,
Well, and I just kind of want to point out, one of the strengths that you have going for you, if you look back at your first pregnancy, that was a long time to stay clean. There's 40 weeks into pregnancy and you stayed clean that whole time.
And a little bit afterwards too.
There, see, and that's a wonderful strength that you have.
Yeah.
So, I think that you need to kind of try and focus on those. Maybe when you're feeling sad and you're writing in your journal and you're doing the homework that, we've been talking about on the thoughts and feelings and things like that, then you can kind of remind yourself like, hey, I was able to get,
yeah,
clean for this long.
I mean, I was clean for a year.
And that's a long time. That's really wonderful. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, if I've done it before, I guess I can do it again.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that we should set some real clear goals.
Okay.
Just to make sure that you know what direction you're going, because we know that the ultimate goal is to get your children back. So what do you want to work on as that first goal and that step in that direction? Because you have a few of them. You're talking about your making up with your grandmother, so you have the support you need. Talking about getting into drug treatment. You've already obviously done your bit coming to see me, as far as taking a step towards getting your kids back. And you're taking the other steps that they're asking you to, because they're upping your visits. You're getting more time with your children. You said that you wanted to create a late Christmas with your kids, and you're already putting aside money for presents and for things like that. And then we talked about, maybe signing the kids up for the Angel program, which I actually have the forms here today that I can help you with.
Yeah.
And then just continuing to work, obviously homework-wise in your journal or whatever. But what goal can we, obviously those are all goals, but can you kind of tell me which one is the most important for you?
Yeah, I think contacting my grandma is the one that I want to do first.
Your number one goal?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe your number two goal would be?
I guess sign up for the drug treatment.
Drug treatment? Have you ever been into drug treatment programs before?
No.
Okay.
Oh, but I also want to do the angel thing that you said.
Yes. Yeah. I'll help you fill out the forms at the end of the session.
Okay.
And we'll get those turned in so that you can provide a nice Christmas for your children.
Okay.
So I kind of just want to talk about maybe assigning some more homework for you for next week. So I'm going to kind of use your goals in that. I want you to go ahead and continue to keep up with the journal and the paperwork that I give you before, to kind of go through and change your negative self-talk to yourself and things like that. But I'd like for you, just this week at least, to reach out to your grandmother and make contact. So let's kind of go over, how you can do that.
Okay.
What would you like, in making up with your grandma, what do you think that you need to do first?
I guess own up to what I did, because I, denied it. I denied stealing the money. So I guess I need to own up to it and apologize.
Okay. And have you and your grandmother had previous fights before this that you were able to make up from?
Yeah. I mean, she's been the biggest part of my life. She was always there when I was growing up, and so we've had, our ups and downs, but she's always there for me in the end.
That's good. It's really important to have a good support system. And you know I'm here if you need me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to work through those kind of steps too in between, I'll make sure that you have my card and number so that you can use those as well.
Okay, great.
And so I want that to kind of be your main focus at this point, because I think that if you repair that relationship with your grandmother, that with her help, you'll be able to sign up for drug treatment and not feel as anxious about it.
Definitely.
And so I definitely want you to use your thought journal as well this week to talk about those feelings when you're working through making up with your grandmother, and maybe, you know, talking about in the journals your feelings of anxiousness and whatnot when it comes to signing up for drug treatment, so we can kind of work through those as well and get you into that drug treatment program.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be really helpful, actually.
Okay, so I just want to have one more question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think is, like, where would you put yourself? 1 being the least that you want to change, 10 being the most you want to change, when we just discussed your goals and things like that. So where do you think you fall on that scale as to changing your life and going into drug treatment?
About a 6, because as I said, I want to do it, but I'm scared at the same time.
Okay, and what would make you go to a 10?
I guess the guarantee of getting my kids back if I did it, and the guarantee that I could be clean for good, you know, and not and be able to cope with life.
Well, you're learning a lot of coping skills in here, and you're doing really, really well towards those. I can already see a big change in your demeanor when you come in to see me. Just from the last time that you were here to this time, I see a much more positive, happy person coming out, and somebody who's really learning to work on their goals and focus on what the important things are that you need to do. But you know, there's no guarantee when it comes to anything drug treatment wise. It really is, it's dependent upon you. And that, you know, relapse is a normal part of life. You know, some people need to relapse several times before they can actually get and stay clean.
Yeah.
But I think that you're on the right track, and that, you know, you're working really hard towards all those, and those are wonderful strengths that you have.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll meet again next week then, okay?
Okay, great.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Okay. I'm gonna stop there. Does it stop, or is it recording still?